Look, let's be brutally honest for a second. Honesty is that thing we all pretend to have while we're waiting for our DoorDash driver to complete the delivery handoff so we don't have to make eye contact with another human being. You're sitting there right now, aren't you? Your neck is bent at a 45-degree angle, your thumb is moving like a caffeinated windshield wiper, and you're feeling nothing. Just a vast, echoing void where your soul used to be, currently being filled by a 10-second clip of a golden retriever wearing sunglasses and a guy in Ohio deep-frying a whole block of cheese. You're not happy. You're not even entertained. You're just occupied. Your brain is basically a wet sponge that's been soaked in high-fructose corn oil and lightning bolts for the last 16 hours. Welcome to the dopamine death spiral, the new great American hobby. We used to build skyscrapers and go to the moon. Now we just stare at a glowing rectangle until our retinas burn out and we forget how to hold a conversation that doesn't involve an emoji. The real world is broken, isn't it? That's what you tell yourself. You go outside, look at a sunset, and your first thought isn't, wow, the majesty of nature. It's, this filter is trash. God really needs to saturation boost the horizon. You go to dinner with your family and everyone is staring at their laps like they're praying to a god made of Gorilla Glass. The steak tastes like cardboard because it hasn't been seasoned with 3,000 likes and a validation comment from a stranger named SkibbityFan69. We've turned our brains into high-speed slot machines, and the house always wins. Every scroll, every notification, every ding is a tiny hit of digital crack that tells your brain something better is coming. Don't look away. The next video might be the one that finally makes you feel alive again. But it never is. It's just another layer of brain rot. Think about it. We live in a country where you can get a 6,000-calorie burger delivered to your door by a guy named Steve who's just trying to pay for his car insurance while you stream a movie about people starving in a dystopian future. The irony is thicker than the gravy on a KFC Famous Bowl. We have everything, yet we've lost the ability to enjoy anything. Remember when you were a kid and a cardboard box was a spaceship? Now you can play a hyper-realistic VR game where you're literally on Mars and within 5 minutes you're bored because you can't check your Instagram feed while flying the shuttle. We've overstimulated ourselves into a state of permanent meh. We're like junkies who need a direct injection of pure internet chaos just to get out of bed in the morning. And hey, speaking of being hooked on high-quality content, why don't you do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button right now? Seriously. If you don't, I'll assume your attention span has already withered away to the size of a raisin and you've forgotten how buttons work. Subscribing is the only way to prove you're still a functioning member of the human race and not just a zombie wandering the digital wasteland looking for more brain rot. It's free, it's instant, and it makes my dopamine levels spike way more than yours do. Do it for the algorithm. Do it for the irony. Just do it. Back to our regularly scheduled programming of total existential dread. We've commodified our own happiness. Everything has to be peak. If a vacation isn't aesthetic, it didn't happen. If a workout isn't tracked on an app, your muscles don't actually grow. We've turned the simple act of existing into a performance for an audience that doesn't even like us. We're so busy filming the concert that we don't hear the music. We're so busy photographing the avocado toast that it's cold by the time we eat it. We've traded the steak for the sizzle, and now we're starving. It's the dopamine American dream. Work a job you hate, to buy things you don't need, to impress people on an app you should delete, all while your brain is screaming for mercy. The problem is that the real world is slow. Nature doesn't have a 2x speed button. Real relationships don't have a skip intro option. Real life involves silence, boredom, and the occasional realization that you're just a hairless ape on a floating rock. But we can't handle that anymore. Silence feels like a threat. Boredom feels like physical pain. So we reach for the phone. We scroll through Twitter to get angry, through TikTok to get numb, and through LinkedIn to feel inadequate. It's a buffet of misery, and we're going back for thirds. We've forgotten how to just be. We're like sharks that have to keep scrolling or we'll drown in our own thoughts. And the corporations, they're laughing all the way to the bank. They've hired teams of psychologists whose entire job is to figure out how to keep you from putting the phone down. They've turned your brain into a Skinner box. You're the pigeon, and the like is the pellet. They don't care if you're happy, they just want your eyeballs. They want you so overstimulated that you can't make a rational decision to save your life. You're more likely to buy a plastic gadget you don't need at 3 a.m. because your impulse control has been eroded by 10 hours of satisfying sand-cutting videos. It's a masterpiece of social engineering, and we're the guinea pigs. Look at our entertainment. Movies used to have plots. Now they're just 2 hours of CGI explosions and quips designed to keep your brain from wandering to the fact that you still haven't done your laundry. Music used to have bridges. Now it's just a 15-second hook repeated until it becomes a permanent resident in your skull. We've optimized everything for the hit. We're a nation of thrill seekers whose greatest thrill is seeing a little red number over an app icon. It's pathetic, it's hilarious, and it's why your life feels like a grayscale version of a 1990s sitcom. You're waiting for the laugh track, but the audience left hours ago. But here's the kicker. The more hits you get, the less you feel. That's the law of diminishing returns, baby. The first time you saw a cat play the piano, it was a miracle. The 10,000th time, it's just noise. We're chasing a high that doesn't exist anymore. We've burnt out our receptors. We're like a car that's been redlining for 3 days straight. Eventually, the engine is just going to melt. And then what? You're left with a world that feels flat, a partner that feels boring, and a job that feels like a prison sentence. So what's the solution? Do we move to a commune in Vermont and make our own soap out of goat milk? Probably not. We're too attached to our high-speed internet and our air conditioning. But maybe, just maybe, we can admit that we're the ones holding the leash. The phone isn't the boss of you. You're the one feeding it your time. Try sitting on a porch for 10 minutes without checking your notifications. It'll feel like your skin is crawling. That's the withdrawal. That's the proof that you're not in control. We're a country of addicts who think we're entrepreneurs. The real world hasn't lost its flavor. You've just burnt your tongue on the digital hot sauce. Life is still there, in the awkward silences, in the smell of rain, in the frustration of a traffic jam. Those are the things that make us human. The internet is just a costume we wear to hide from our own shadows. So next time you feel that itch to scroll, just remember there's a whole world out there waiting to be ignored while you watch a video of a teenager doing a dance in a parking lot. Choose wisely. Or don't. I'm just a voice on the internet, and I'm probably already being replaced by a more stimulating AI in your brain anyway.